All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Nonsense live stream. I'm Yaga. How we all doing? First off, rest in peace, Stephen Hawking. Passed away yesterday at 76. Great intellectual mind, 21st century and 20th century. Here's to you, Mr. Hawking. Sad. I kind of now want to dive into a little bit more of his work, so I'm gonna have to pick up some books and do some more reading, but I've already got several books I've got lined up in the old world of Yaga here, trying to educate myself on stuff. Anyway, so what's going on, guys? I just got off the phone actually with a friend of mine, my friend Mel, who lives in New York. We've been friends for almost 20 years, and I was just thinking about her, and she called me too, so that's cool, man. You ever get that? You ever get that? You ever had that thought? You know, you're thinking about a person or something like that, and you're just like wondering, like, well, I wonder how they're doing. Then all of a sudden, either you see them, you get a phone call, whatever, text message today, whatever. Just something makes that person cross your path outside of just your thoughts. So, I mean, that's, I don't know. I've always wondered about that. Like, what is that? People are like, oh, it's just a coincidence. I'm like, is it? Or is it like some strange energy connection? Because I believe I believe in energies, auras, and connections, man. That's what I believe. I think, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's God. I'm like, well, like, if you want to label it, like, let's pretend there's no labels. I feel like you give positive energy, and then there's negative energy and everything else in between. I try to aim more towards the positive stuff. But I still have a little of that 1-2 punch in the old negative energy. But yeah, we've been friends for almost 20 years, man. We met back in a AOL chat room way back when. I think when I was like 14. And back then, I mean, this is like the late 90s. So that was, you know, that was the thing. You know, everybody remembers about my age, because back then, you know, you log into some chat and start talking about age, sex, live. ASL was always one of the things which meant age, sex, live. How old are you? And where do you live? You know, people were just giving that information out. You know, you'd always add like 1 or 2 years to your age. If you're 14, you're like, I'm 16. Just got my driver's license. You know, whatever. Everybody bullshitted back then. You're an adolescent. You didn't know any better. Plus, it was new. Chat rooms and technology back then were so new. But we actually talked a lot. And still friends to this day, man. We used to write letters. If anybody remembers how to write a letter and actually mail them. Because I live in Illinois. She lives in New York, upstate New York, not the fucking, you know, there is a whole state of New York other than just the city. Some people forget that. It's actually quite beautiful from what I hear. So we used to write letters, talk on the phone, rack the phone bill up, you know. You ever did that when you were a kid? You know, you'd be on the phone for like hours, and the phone bill comes like $150. And your parents are like, what the fuck? You calling long distance to New York? Which is true, because back then, if you called outside your area code, it was a lot of money. So you had to keep phone conversations short. Now, you know, whatever. I could Skype somebody on this computer. You know, it's not. Yeah, it takes away a lot of the fun and excitement and like that anticipation of like hearing from somebody. It is. It's like as convenient and as awesome as it is to have, you know, a cell phone, and everywhere you go, you can call somebody or get a text message, or even log into the internet now, check your emails, Facebook, whatever the fuck it is. It's very convenient. It's nice, but it almost seems like, since now we all take it for granted, you know. Back then, when it was just a little AOL chat, you had to log in and you know, wait for the dial tone because it wasn't high-speed internet yet, and it took you like 30 fucking minutes to get on the computer. And then once you got to the site where you wanted to chat, that took additional time to actually log in and start working. So, I don't know. We do take it for granted. Like, there's no anticipation. Now it's like anybody can call me at any time of the day, and if you don't pick up, it's you know, back then, if you went a day, if you only had the phone on the wall and went one day without hearing from somebody, you didn't freak the fuck out, you know. You're like, well, they're not home. They'll be home whenever they are. And that was okay. Now, I text you 18 seconds ago. How come you're not responding to my text message? Everybody knows people who are like that. That, you know, God forbid you don't answer a text message or a phone call. But not that anybody really calls me anymore. Nobody calls me. And that's fine. To be honest, I kind of like it. It's nice. If people call me, it's usually important. So I weeded out all the bullshit, kept the important stuff. So, you like this? I look like a Canadian nerd lumberjack. Nerd meets Canadian lumberjack, I like to say. All right, Dave, let's go get some goofy things here. Oh, sorry. That's just I like anybody from Canada. You guys are awesome. Now, yeah, so that was cool. I had a nice conversation right before this with my friend, and I talked to her on we haven't talked in years on the phone. Years. You know, like we're friends on Facebook and stuff. It's one of those things, just kept in contact throughout the years. And the older I get, you realize you have maybe 2 or 3 people in your life that you will constantly talk to or turn to. I think so. My friend Mel is one of them. And it's weird. And we met in a chat room. So the internet or technology, they actually did a good thing, because without the chat room, you know, I would have never met this person. They're halfway across this country. But the really awesome thing is that we've stayed in contact over all the years. It wasn't just like, you know what I mean? And that's cool, man. How many people can say they met somebody in the chat room 20 years ago? We're friends. Your family knows them. They're cool with you. You get pictures of their kids, you know, stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's a cool thing. I think it's very rare. So for that, I'm definitely grateful for that relationship, because that's a rare fucking thing. You don't think about it, right? Until like all of a sudden, here we are on the phone again. And all of a sudden it's just like, oh man, I have this friendship from all these years ago from a fucking thing. In other words, you never know, you know, who's going to be a lasting person in your life. You know, I've known so many people, and there's only a few people that are still around after 20 years of existence. Not 20 years of existence, but I mean 20 years of knowing them. And it's like I used to meet so many people when I was in a band, like all these other bands and their fans, musicians. And when I used to play clubs and gigs, I was constantly socializing with all walks of life. Now on the internet, I've met tons of people. When I started my YouTube channel, I got more friends in New York that I met because of starting YouTube and doing videos, you know, which is cool. And we still talk to this day. I got a buddy, Dave, and shout out to Dave, who does Everyday Geek TV. You know, it's a nice, he does toy unboxings. He does it with his kids a lot. And, you know, we started YouTube at the same time, but we're still friends. And I like Dave. We talked. He's, you know, we have a lot of similarities. He likes the WWE, so do I. But he's a cool cat. He's a good family man. And, you know, that's neat. And that's a friendship I wouldn't have for the internet. So technology can be good depending on what you're looking to do with it. You know, I think for the art of networking and for people to connect is wonderful, because you can connect with anybody and everybody you've ever had in your life at some point, right? But I think to create long-lasting relationships, not so much, you know? Like, I've already got my long-lasting relationships, but I think it just depends on you. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, I never got, like, I don't know, when I first joined chat rooms, it was just new and fun. Like, this is exciting to sit here and talk to people and pretend I'm something cool, you know? But then today, it's just, you know, it's just the norm. You know, log in your Facebook, you see, you know, like my 10-year reunion was back in 2012, right? I didn't go. Nobody went, apparently. And because I blame, you know, social media and technology for that, because I think there were only like 30, maybe 40 people showed up to this thing. And what had happened was, you know, the 10-year reunion in high school from your, I'm all over the place. Your 10-year reunion from high school used to be the one that everybody went to because they wanted to see how you're doing. Like, hey, you know, what are you doing for a job? Are you married? Did you have kids? Blah, 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 blah. You know, a decade away from all the people you used to know in high school and mesh with. And now all of a sudden, here you guys are 10 years later. But now, No, not anymore. Social media kind of fucked that whole thing up because I just, hey, we're friends on Facebook. Oh, you got married. Oh, you bought a house. Oh, you're eating pasta for dinner. Oh, okay. Oh, your kid took its first steps. That's wonderful. I think like I see why people do it. Like it's an important thing to them. Um, but when now it's become it's just a mundane thing. Like Susie took their first step, and you're like, everybody takes their first step at some point. It's supposed to be a moment that's like for you, whoever if you're married, your significant other or family. Like when you experience that, that's for you guys. The rest of the world, I don't give a shit. Like I don't care. Like, oh my god, here she is eating her first Twinkie. Like, shouldn't be giving a kid Twinkies. Number one, they don't need that shit. Number two, I don't care. I'm not saying like not to do that. I'm just saying like nobody cares when they post all that stuff too much, When they're born, yeah, that's wonderful because I think it's a good thing. Like when you see somebody had a child, it is a great experience, I got a almost 9-month-old nephew, and when he was born, that was friggin' awesome. I was on my way to Metallica. I get a call from my other sister saying, "Hey, Uncle Matt," and I've got a new nephew, and that was amazing. I love being an uncle. He's a great little dude, man. I'm a nice male presence in his life. I'll try to make him a nerd like me. Maybe he'll like the action figures. Who knows? Who cares? One thing at a time. My dreams for my nephew are my own, but it's a fun experience. But then social media, like back to the 10-year reunion thing, nobody went to my 10-year reunion. We had a class of 450 people. Nobody went. 30 people ish. I heard they had a good time. Like everybody drank and had fun, but social media killed that. There's no need to have this gathering in an actual physical setting when you've got the internet and you've got Facebook and you've got Instagram and you got Twitter and all the other fucking platforms. Because now I just see everything. It's like, well, I know what you're doing. You posted everything on Facebook, so I see it. So what else can we talk about if we were to be face to face? But I think that's a little disingenuous because I think if you actually sit down and are one-on-one with a person, the conversation could be really good, depending on what you're talking about. I mean, like no nonsense shit like, oh, I got new insurance from State Farm and it saved me 10%. It's like nobody cares. I talk about something a little bit more interesting, like how did you feel when your child was born? Were you scared? What was going through your head at that moment? Something like that, something that makes you human. That's what I'm interested in. I want to see people, or I at least want to talk to people and find out where they're coming from. I don't care about the mundane, everyday life shit that we all deal with. We all got bills. We all got jobs. We all got fucking something. I want to hear deeper shit, something that's going to help us all grow as a species. That's what I'm into today. Now, I think you can get that if you were to still have actual functions where people came together, I kind of wish we would do it. I think there was talk about my school's 15-year reunion or something like that coming up. And people were thinking about it. I don't know. Maybe I misread something on Facebook. But nonetheless, that 10-year reunion's gone. Now, yeah, I don't know. It sucked a lot of the fun out of friendships and relationships, man. Like like I said, my friend Mel, I've known for 20 years, who I met in an internet chat room. At least back then, it was still just the phone was on the wall, so we call each other. That was cool. Or write letters, man. When's the last time you wrote a letter to anybody? Been a while for me. I mean, besides like significant other, like a card. I'm not talking about that. Like an actual letter, not like a picture of your family. It's like, Merry Christmas. Here's the kids. Nobody cares. Like a heartfelt letter. Have you? If you do, great. That's a good trait to have, man. Because I feel, at least for me, when I start to write something down on a piece of paper and then I'm going to give it to somebody, it just starts to flow. Like I don't really think about what I'm going to write, but then as I'm writing it, it just comes out. Like the words are I write so much better than I speak. I'm getting better at speaking. The more I just shoot from the hip here and speak from my own experiences in life. But I tell you, it's a pretty cool thing. Anyway, I'm babbling about stuff. So what else is going on? Like I said, Stephen Hawkins, poor guy. Lou Gehrig's disease, right? 76. Pretty good life. I mean, he got to a decent age, so good for him. Let's see where he went. See what that whole life after death thing happened for him or not. Possible. I don't know. So yeah, I ain't got much else today, guys. It's kind of a weird day. I'm not expecting to do much. I was a little irritated the last several days. Everything was just getting under my skin from work, you know, working with a bunch of fucking lazies. You know, I don't understand people's work ethic today. Like, if you're not going to work hard here, you're going to work hard anywhere. I'm not saying you just got to work hard your whole life, but Jesus, you know, this is what gets you money. Like, nobody's just going to give you stuff. And if you do have somebody who just gives you stuff, it's probably because you earned it somehow. Nobody gave me this camera. I bought it. You know what I mean? I had to work for the money to buy it. Nobody gave me that. Well, not all the action figures. Some were gifts. 90% of the shit I buy is for myself, but you got to earn stuff, man. Like anything, respect, you know, you earn it. You don't just get it. You're not entitled to it. I'm not entitled to anybody's respect. I got to earn people's respect, I think. I used to think when I was a lot younger and naive, like, I don't fucking need to respect anything. Like, that's just a no life experience person dealing with that stuff. You know what I mean? Then you grow up, you hit like your 30s. I think you really start to figure it out when you're in your 30s. Like, I think I like to think you're more of an adult by your mid 20s, but you know, your brain's not fully developed until you're 25, your frontal lobe. So, you know, I like to think by 30 you kind of got a handle on things, or at least you should. At least I did. I started to get a handle on things by the time I turned 30. You just start realizing, like, I like people who are like, well, when you're that age, that's just what you do. I'm like, is it? Is it what you do, or is that what we think we do? You know, I think a lot of it has to just do with like what we think we do. Like when you turn 21, oh, it's your right to go out and get fucked up at a bar and throw up. Like, is it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of good times in my early 20s. I can't sit there and knock it now, but looking back, I go, I just wanted to do it because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Then in reality, it's not really. I don't know, a little bit more like taught about taking responsibility for myself would have been nice. You know, taking my own actions in account for my decisions. You know, there was no guidance for that. There was graduate, go to college, get a job, find somebody you want to marry, start a family, and that was it. But there's no book of details in between all that stuff. It was just points of destination, but no explanation on how to get through the journey. I found everything out the hard way, which honestly, though, I'm glad I did find out a lot of life lessons the hard way, because otherwise, I don't know if I would have learned. If everything was easy, if every single thing was easy to get, jobs, money, everything was just, it was presented like it is with your phone. Like, it's just easy to contact people. It's easy to not contact people. I could text you, I could call you, and if you don't pick up the phone, I've got Messenger on there from Facebook, so I can IM you on there. So it's like, we got all these things, you know, to bring us together, but yet I feel like drove us apart. Because I can go on Facebook and see something somebody posts, maybe react to it like, oh, I don't like that. And I'm all of a sudden like, I don't want to hear from this person. They give you that option on Facebook, right? I don't want to see posts from this person. It's like almost intentionally, unintentionally trying to just be like, I don't want to hear bad things. I only want to hear the good, which, don't get me wrong. I said earlier, I'm trying to be more on the positive side. I am, but I'm also aware there's shit out there. There's stuff you need to be aware that's crazy and dangerous. And you're fucking naive as hell if you don't think it is. And you're just going to walk around and pretend like it is the family portrait on Sunday dinners and everything's good and people are smiling. For the most part, that's true, but you got to be aware, like, every potential human being on this earth has the capability of doing anything. You can be a monster. I can be a monster. Everyone can be a monster, but you choose not to. That's what I work on. I choose not to be an asshole today, and that doesn't always work. because I'm a human being and I got to be realistic with myself. I get pissed off. But if you work on trying not to let your emotions make all your decisions, man. You can't always make decisions when you're mad, sad, frustrated. You're going to make some pretty shit choices. You want to know how I know? Because I have. Okay. I can say that because when I'm angry, I'm not thinking pretty clearly or rationally. I'm thinking out of anger, which usually means I'm very vengeful and I'll choke slam anybody that's in my fucking path. You know what I mean? I'll just bulldoze right through you. So sometimes I think, I don't know where it's going with that. Responsibility? Oh, fuck. I don't know. I lost my train. I literally just went blank right now. I don't even know. No, it's like protecting kids. People who coddle their kids so much and like don't want them to get hurt. And don't get me wrong, man. I don't want to see kids, fall and break their arm or touch a stove and get burnt. Like, it sucks when you go through that, but in the long run of life, it teaches you things. I get that now. You can't just think about the short term. You got to think about mid, long-term goals. Mid, long-term goals. I do. Short term's what, today. What can I get done today? But then I'm thinking about a decision I make today might affect me a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. For a decision I make right now. If I say I'm making a shitty decision out of anger or some bullshit, it's going to affect me for a bigger decision. So I take stuff in today and I think clearly about it. I absorb stuff. I put a few pieces together in my head, then I make a decision. Because if I'm solely acting on my instinct and my desires, I won't be making good decisions. I'd be a fucking animal. And I think that's what separates human beings from the animal world. We have the ability to do that, folks. We have the ability to know when we're being animals and when we're not. We choose to be them or we choose not to be. The real work, it's easy to become crazy and be angry and go and be an animal. It's hard to practice not being an emotional fucking bag of shit. And that goes for everybody, men, women alike, whatever else. And, when you see like all these people, I just watched the entire Jordan Peterson lecture from the Queen's University. If you haven't looked it up, it's almost 2 hours long. It's a fascinating lecture. Jordan Peterson says some really good shit. If you really want to learn to pull your head out of your ass and like do some decent stuff with your life, I recommend listening to what he says. He's got a lot of shit on YouTube you can watch. I'm reading his book, 12 Rules for Life, right now. It's really fucking awesome. But in this Queen's University thing, he's given a fucking lecture, and then there's these protesters that come in and just start saying shit and walking across the stage with ridiculous signs. And it's at that point now, if you aren't aware of what's going on, I think you're getting there, When these people walk out, it's almost like it's a good thing for Jordan Peterson, but it's also like a good thing for rational people who aren't crazy. Like, I'm crazy. I really am, right? We're all crazy. But there's a way to go about like conducting society in this life. Now I know that. I didn't know that 5 years ago. Honestly, I did not. I was a fucking chaotic mess in a whirlwind of my own fucking self-destruction and despair, and I'd take down anybody who was in my the vicinity of me. I know that today. Now, when there's people protesting, they're breaking these windows at this university. I'll find the link and I'll leave it in the description below if you want, or if you're interested in watching it. It's really fascinating. But they're breaking windows and stuff, and you see the actions of these people, and they don't even know what the fuck they are protesting. They think this dude stands for just these labels. And that's why I fucking hate labels. What's all the ones going around now? Sexist, bigot, Nazi. All these labels are going on. They're just being thrown out there. And people are just getting slapped in the face with these labels. And the people that are doing the slapping in the face aren't even aware of what those fucking words really mean. And they're taking those labels and they're just watering them down to just anything now. Now it's just nothing. That is crazy, people. If you don't see that as crazy, then I don't know what to fucking tell you. That's nuts. It's really crazy to think that's okay. Again, it goes back to people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, who they're talking about, and just go and do stuff because they can, because they're self-entitled little bitches. Mom and dad never told them no. They were always given shit, and now they're bored and they need something to complain about. Good luck, you know. Those are people who don't know what taking responsibility for anything is. Because in their minds, they're not doing anything wrong. They think they're doing the right thing. And the idea of it to them is valid, you know. But to the rest of the world, they look fucking ridiculous. You should listen to that. Like, for example, I'm me, right? But if somebody's like, man, you know, you're being a little moody, and I'd be like, fuck you. No, I'm not. But if 2 people said it, or even 3 said, hey, man, you're being a little moody, then I'd start to think about it. I'd be like, you know, maybe these people are right. Maybe then I'd start to look at myself like, am I? Oh, you know, and then I could become aware of it. Like, oh shit, you know what? I am. And then I trace my steps now today. I'm like, why am I pissed off? I go, oh yeah, that's right. I had all these plans. Now they fell through. Work sucked. It was really long. People were irritated. You know, then I started to realize, oh, okay, this is why I'm in this mood, and now I'm reacting to everyone around me in a negative way because I'm not dealing with the shit that's already happened. So if people call you out on it, it's a good thing. But, you know, it's good when people are genuinely calling you out, you know, not just saying that shit. I don't know. I'm just a dude talking to you guys on camera. I'm letting you know what I've learned through my life experience. I could let you know that I was a young, naive, dumb kid who didn't know shit and would just get mad and be mad for no fucking reason because I thought I deserved everything. When in reality, I didn't work hard enough for what I did. I earned it. Today, I'm very grateful for what I have. I got a roof over my head, pretty sweet action figure collection that took me 11 years to work on. Not that you care, but I love it. It's my hobby. I got a 9-month-old nephew who's growing up, and he's adorable, and he's fucking awesome. I got 2 great parents that are still kicking, that are awesome. You know, I have enough money. I have everything I need. Gratitude, man. And I didn't know what that was. I thought it was like, okay, well, I better get some more stuff that'll make me happy. Nah, stuff doesn't make me happy. Like, that's fun. Like, all the shit I collect, it's a fun hobby for me. I love it because I appreciate art. You know, an action figure is just somebody's artwork, man. An idea they thought of. You know, comic books and stuff, that was an idea. Somebody thought of a story. They made it into something. They manifested it in their mind, created it on the pages of paper, made a ton of stories. Then somebody's like, you know what, I'm going to make that and manifest it into something actually tangible. And they made action figures. So they took those characters like, man, that's cool. Creations, man, art, it's all an idea that manifests itself into reality. We can all be creators, all of us. Every single one of us is. If you have an idea, you can turn that shit into reality. You know, get ideas. If you're a thinker and you've got all kinds of crazy ideas that are you think might help people or you can make a living off of, fucking try it. Who cares? What do you got to lose? What? The security of, you know, having a good job and some 401ks because, you know, there's not going to be any pension by the time you're fucking dead. Who cares, man? You die in the end anyway. We all die in the end. Or you can live 30, 40 years, and when you get old, go, man, I wish I would have just did that when I was younger. I'm like, see, I don't live my life in those kind of fucking regrets. I hear people do it all the time. Even people my age are like, man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't want to shoulda, coulda, woulda. Just do it. Why not? What do you got to lose? The best commodity we all have is time. Time is priceless. You can't put a price tag on your time. I can't. I don't waste people's time. I expect them not to waste my time, and that's a good thing. Your time is priceless. Don't waste it out of fear of maybe having a couple dollars in the bank and this and that and the other thing. And I get it. You're like, well, I got all this stuff I got to worry about. Bill, then how's little Timmy going to get through college? Like, You just take responsibility for all your decisions in life, but don't use things as an excuse to not live your life. You know, you see that a lot when people have kids. We're like, oh, my kids are my responsibility. I can't do anything fun now for the next 20 years. It's like, yeah, you can. Your responsibility now is to be a fucking good parent and prepare that kid for life. People just think kids are kids forever. They are adorable. They're great. But kids aren't dumb either. When you've got a 2-year-old acting up, he's smart. He's playing you. He's testing you to see what he can get away with, even at that age. You don't think so. You think it's like, oh, when they get to adolescence and they get a little older, like, no, man, that little baby is fucking with you and is going to tell you, is going to test you to see what you can get away with. And if you let it kick and scream, then eventually you get that kid who's in the public place, running amok, not doing anything, disrupting everybody around him because of you. Sounds. A lot of parents don't like to hear that. Oh, it's this guy who doesn't have kids. I'm like, dude, I've been around kids. I've got nieces and nephews. I've seen it. I work in a fucking restaurant, and I see families come in, and you could tell the ones who discipline the kids in the right way, as babies, and then the other ones who just didn't give a fuck and just give the kid everything, and you see it, and you can point them out easily who they are. It's sad to me, man. It's sad because then when that kid gets to real life adulthood and has to start living in the world, it's going to be fucked up because they're going to be like, well, I don't need to do anything. I've always had this way. It's like, yeah, kids aren't kids forever. Remember that. And they're not stupid. That little baby knows what it's doing when it's crying, and you keep picking it up instead of just letting him put himself to sleep. He knows. He knows that mommy or daddy's going to come pick him up, and he's go, aha, I got what I wanted. It's all about getting what you want, man. That to me is like the whole underlying purpose of this world is like you get what you want. You know, if a baby's crying to get out of his fucking crib, he knows what he wants to do because he's mad. He wants to get out of that crib. I just read it in Jordan Peterson's book. He's got an interesting rule here about kids, and I'll bust it out. Rule number 5, which is don't do anything. What is it called here? Hold on. It's called do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. What does that mean to me? That means like, well, people, you have kids, they don't go to sleep on time, they act up in public, and you're going to sit there and the parents get frustrated, you get frustrated, you got no sleep, you're irritated, the kid's irritated, everybody's irritated. But you want to be able to, from what I read last night, train the little guy or girl to actually know that that's not okay. But they're going to keep testing the parents as much as they can with their crying and getting up and, maybe they're kicking or they're biting or whatever they're doing. I've realized this. I used to think, kids don't know anything. They're just babies and kids. I'm like, no, man, I find out recently from a lot of research I've done, kids aren't dumb. They're very smart. Very smart. So thank you for the one person who was watching earlier. I'm going to wrap it up. It's about 33 minutes of me rambling to myself. Keep those people. If you've got 2 or 3 people in your life that have been there since the dawn of time and are always there and still there, cherish those people. Give them a call today. Let them know. Be like, hey, I was just thinking about you. I'm wondering how you're doing. Because I'm sure they would love to hear from you. And those relationships in life are priceless too. Just like your time. Your time is priceless. Don't waste it on worrying about how you're gonna this and that and the other thing. Man, just live it up. Take your life into your hands. Make good decisions. And I tell you, man, the decisions you make today for the mid to long term goals that you have for yourself, it pays off. I'm living proof of this. I can get into more detail in another live stream if you want to know what I'm talking about. One day I will. So, thank you. Everybody have a wonderful day. And I will be back on Sunday at noon Central Standard Time for another No Nonsense live stream. Let me know what you want to talk about. Leave me some comments down below. Shoot me a Twitter at MJ Yaga. You can follow me there. Send me a message. Follow me on YouTube at The Word of Yaga. Also, my Facebook page is at TWO Yaga, 2 Yaga. Other than that, guys, or you can email me if you have any questions, or if you want to, yeah, shoot me a topic that you want me to talk about, because I research a lot of stuff today. I'm open to almost anything, or anything really. So my email address is twoyaga@gmail. That's 2yaga@gmail.com. Shoot me an email, guys. I would love to hear from you. And I will see you all on Sunday. Have a good afternoon.